How much do you think your last bad hire cost your organization? 50K? 100K? 200K? What if I told you it's likely 20 to 30 times more expensive than your initial assessment, meaning the typical cost of a bad hire is likely into the millions? In this video, we will uncover the true cost of a bad hire by looking at both the direct and indirect costs associated with these hires to clearly demonstrate the pain of not prioritizing hiring at your organization. And provided in the YouTube description, I'm going to give you a spreadsheet that you can utilize to really take a closer look at these costs. So let's start with direct costs. Oftentimes, the calculation of the cost of a bad hire, it's incorrect because only direct hire costs are considered. And these can include, but are not limited to, things like recruiting costs, compensation, relocation, onboarding, and sometimes legal items or issues. And oftentimes the last piece is misdirected investments or purchases, which can also be very costly. So when you see common stats online, such as 30% of a first year's salary or up to 50K or any other stats, they're completely made up because it's impossible to calculate the true cost of a bad hire. It simply cannot be done. But let's dive into some of the direct costs that we can actually calculate, starting with recruiting costs. Now, this would include a number of items, including advertising and marketing costs, costs of the recruiter, so this could be cost to an external agency or time spent as an internal recruiter. This could be hiring manager time spent, interviewer time spent. Sometimes there's committee or decision makers that are not interviewers, that's their time spent. Cost of a background check, relocation costs if applicable, a referral bonus if applicable, and just general onboarding costs. Next is compensation. This is the easiest one to calculate, so this would include base salary, bonus if applicable, equity if applicable, sign-on bonus if applicable, and then any sort of benefits, health, dental, 401k, etc., any perks, company taxes, if you had to pay for any travel. And then the longer term direct costs could be any legal items or issues. So this would be legal fees paid to an external counsel or lawyer just to handle any issues that came up, or time spent by an internal counsel. And then the last one is just misdirected investments or purchases by a bad hire. And this could be something small like misusing the company credit card for personal dinners, personal items. But sometimes it's larger items, maybe investing in costly software or products where they were a bad hire, so they didn't do their due diligence, they didn't get buy-in from critical stakeholders, they just made the purchases. And while there probably are likely a lot of other direct costs associated with a bad hire, recruiting costs and compensation are the two most common. And by the time you get to the end of the direct costs, usually I think a good calculation is about a year's salary, give or take. Now, let's flip the coin and talk about indirect costs. The indirect costs are the much, much larger bucket, and by far of all the indirect costs, opportunity costs are the one where your organization is really going to lose money. So some opportunity costs are just general items. They're definitely cultural and morale items. Customer-based items is a big one. Brand and reputational items, and just overall loss of productivity and time. So before diving in, let's just look at these crazy stats. 20 to 30 times a person's salary in opportunity costs. And the scariest item of all, every single day this person is in the role, the opportunity cost is compounding. And this data point alone might be important than anyone else and might be the most glaring. So you ready? You ready to be overwhelmed with all the considerations you need to be thinking about from an indirect cost perspective? Let's start with just general opportunity costs. So this could be the overall quality of work in regards to products, services, even like quality assurance. This could just be overall inefficiency. This could be poorly created process and procedures, absolutely missed goals and deadlines, poor overall project work. Project delays can be very costly, poor decision making very costly. longer times to have resolutions, creating bottlenecks, overall poor communication and engagement. Maybe there was new product or feature launch delays or problems because of this bad hire, service delays or problems, missed opportunities for new business. That is one of the biggest. Lack of overall innovation, maybe that they were supposed to bring into the role, reduced or lost market share. Sometimes this is based on customer relationships, strained vendor supplier partner relationships. Those are also critical. Poor overall problem solving, missed opportunities to scale and automate parts of the business, poor overall planning, change management, risk management, responsiveness, a lack of adaptability, and just in general wasted resources. It's a lot. So let's dive over into the cultural morale items. So attrition and employee turnover, cost to replace employees that left because of the bad hire who forced good employees out of the organization, increased workload because those people left, increased reliance on other teams and maybe temporary employees, that's another cost, and then overall impacted performance of employees under this bad hire. People feel overworked or underappreciated. There's maybe a lack of collaboration or opportunity for team building, and it could just have an overall impact on team dynamics with the direct team and or collaborative teams. There could be negativity that's brought into the workplace, these cross-functional, again, relationships. There could be missed opportunities to mentor somebody who could have really been a star, and then maybe it makes the staff unmotivated and uninspired, and there's just overall a lack of direction. Let's go to the customers. So the customer opportunity cost may absolutely be the biggest one. So when we look at existing customers, for example, it could be the overall customer service experience. There could be loss of potential customers. That is a huge indirect cost. Lost opportunities to upsell additional services to current customers, features and or products that are not getting delivered in a timely manner to existing customers, failed negotiations. This could be, again, with new or existing customers, and maybe just a little bit of missed competitive intelligence. The market wasn't being examined correctly. Now let's move to brand. So a bad hire can create overall reputational damage for your company. You can lose referrals in the process, lose trust. You can have negative customer feedback online that you can't get rid of, and just an overall understanding and kind of people examining the business as a lack of being professional. Lastly, productivity and time. Overall reduction in productivity from that employee, from people around that employee, time wasted, and that's going to be poor time management, that could be poor training. And when you collectively look at all these items, you start to understand the true pain. And so I want you to go use that spreadsheet I provided in the YouTube description. It's just going to be an opportunity to check all the areas that bad hire impacted your business and see some of the true costs. Again, very, very difficult to calculate those costs, but you'll start to feel the impact and see that it was much larger than you thought. And now that you know the true cost of a bad hire, hopefully you're ready to make a change. This starts with a hiring and interview strategy audit.